What is up, y'all? Schrodinger here, back with another video, and if you couldn't tell by the title of the video and by everything that I have piled here in front of me, today I'm going to be talking about foods that I bring with me on a through hike. So I made this video, or the same concept of the video, when I was first starting out my YouTube channel. It was one of the first videos I made, and I'll be honest, it wasn't very good. Not only was it like poorly made, if I have any viewers from those first couple videos, I haven't improved that much, but I've improved enough that I recognize that was just a bad video. And also some of the advice that I gave, it wasn't that good. Kind of my taste changed, and I even like with what I was eating, because I was like trying to follow that advice. So I was like, yeah, this is kind of, this is how I should eat, and it didn't work out. I wasn't having a lot of energy. I was kind of having some issues with it, and I wasn't feeling well. So I kind of put some more thought into it, and changed what I eat into more of what you see in front of you, and some other things. I can't include everything. I tried to remember as much as I could and get it from the store, but I always miss some stuff. But let's get into it. First thing I want to talk about is kind of the guidelines. I always say like there's no cookie cutter way to hike, and I don't want to give like specific guidelines like, oh, you have to eat like me or your hike's never going to work out. That's not it at all. There are tons of people who eat vastly different from me, vastly different ideas, and they hike just fine. This is just what works for me, and it has worked great thus far. I always feel fairly good when I'm hiking, as good as you can feel, and I feel like I have energy, and I think a lot of that is due to what I eat on a daily basis. The main thing for me is just getting enough calories. That is one of the biggest struggles that you're going to have on trail, where you get enough calories without carrying a ton of weight. It's always very difficult to kind of balance those two things out. So through kind of the guide, or I shouldn't say guideline, the advice that I'm going to give is kind of how I have balanced those two as much as possible. So I eat every day, or most days when I'm, and most, I mean like 95% probably of the days that I'm hiking, I'm eating 4,000 plus calories a day. For a normal, person's intake, that's a bit extreme, but when you're hiking, you're going to be so hungry. It's not even, especially if you're a larger person. I'm 6'1", 200 pounds. And that's honestly what I'm about at on trail most of the time. So I'm a decently large person. It's very easy for me to get those calories in. If you're smaller, if you're a woman and you're 5'3" and you weigh 130 pounds, you're not going to need to eat 4,000 calories. So, vary it based on you, but try to get as many calories as you possibly can, because you need the energy when you're hiking. Even eating 4,000 calories a day isn't near enough. My main focus whenever I'm shopping for food is to try and get as much fat as possible. So if you don't know about how the macronutrients work, your fats, your proteins, and your carbohydrates, your fats have the most caloric value per weight of that nutrient. So fats carry 9 calories per gram, where your carbohydrates and your proteins only carry 4 calories per gram. So because of that, I focus a lot on fat in my hiking diet. But you can't just eat fat, because there's micronutrients you need to get. There's vitamins, there's minerals and stuff that is also very important. But if you're eating enough, you should get those, especially if you're eating a wide variety of foods and you're eating a lot of those wide varieties of foods. You'll get enough of your micronutrients, with having the energy to do it. The way that I'm going to talk about everything here is I'm going to organize it into my breakfast that I eat, my snacks and my lunches, and then my dinners. I kind of combine snack and lunch because, I don't know, I'd stop for like 2 lunches. That's kind of the way I look at how I eat. And then a lot of times when I hike with people, they'll be like, "Oh, let's stop for a snack." And then later they're like, "Oh, let's stop for lunch." And they eat, kind of different things. They have like a set meal for lunch. I just pile in snacks and lunches and then eat pretty much the same thing at both of the stops. So there are plenty of different ways to like get all the calories that you need and try and get those that 4,000 calorie mark. I eat 4 times a day. I eat breakfast, 2 lunches, and a dinner. That's the way I do it. So I've seen some people, they do they'll like I said, they'll do a breakfast, a snack, a lunch, and then a dinner, or they'll do 2 snacks: breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner. Both. It's all pretty much the same. Just depends on how many times you eat. I know people who skip breakfast and then they have a snack later, and then after 5 or 6 miles, then they have their breakfast. I hiked with a guy. He tried to eat every 2 hours, at least something. He would like have a Cliff Bar or something that he would keep in his pack, and while he was hiking, he would eat. I'm not really big on eating while I'm hiking. I don't know. Maybe I just can't chew gum and walk, type of deal. But I've never. I just feel like when I'm eating, it's kind of like my precious time. That's my like sacred time, and nothing's gonna taint my eating time. So I like to stop, get comfortable, eat, enjoy it, take a break, and then get back to hiking again. And just solely focus on hiking. But anyway, I think that is it for the guidelines. Hopefully, if I did miss anything, then I'll cover it when I'm going over all the foods that I eat. But if I did miss anything, as always, just leave a question in the comments and I'll do my best to answer it. So let's go ahead, get all the from here over off the table, and then we'll get to talking about breakfast. All right, so here are my usual breakfast items, and not a wide selection. I honestly eat the same thing for breakfast every single day. It's a little obnoxious, and it was whether I was cold soaking or I was, actually cooking my meals. It's the same thing every day. Does it kind of get old? A little bit. But I found the most value in it, and it's kind of the only stuff that I like enjoyed eating for breakfast, just because I'm just waking up and I'm not a morning person. So these are my small selection, my hand-picked selection of what I eat for breakfast. And the most important thing, coffee, instant coffee. So I talked, one thing I think I forgot to mention this in the intro. Whenever I'm getting food, I try to make sure that it has 100 calories per ounce of food. For any non-Americans that are watching, that's 100 calories per 28 grams. So that matches up about perfectly with the protein and carbohydrate. 4 calories per gram. That's kind of where I get that number. It gives me a little bit of leeway, but I want to get as much as possible. The only time you're not really going to follow that as much is when you have something that carries a different value for you. So it may taste really good and just make you feel better. I definitely have packed out some things where I'm just like, I don't care what it weighs. It's delicious. It's going to rain all week. The bugs are bad, whatever. And I just need something that's going to I'll eat it. And then it's like, I'm a little bit happier now. So sometimes you need those things. And one of those things for me is instant coffee. Probably the most important. I don't know if I could hike without instant coffee. It's vital to me. I wake up. Like I said, I'm not a morning person. I get up. I am in a bad mood. I have no energy. I don't want to go. But I can have a coffee, or towards the end of trail, it might be like 4 coffees, and get some caffeine in me, and it gets me, moving, it gets me up, and it gets me hiking. So I think coffee is the best thing. I do actually, not sponsored by Starbucks, I wish, but I do really enjoy the Starbucks instant coffee. They actually make good instant coffee. Some of the stuff that you get is, it's rough. It is not good. So because of that reason, a lot of times I'll mix it with other stuff to make it more palatable, because like it is this harsh, and it honestly, like, it wakes me up, and I think it wakes me up more just because of how bad it is. Like it's rough. So you can definitely like mix this in with your oatmeal, or some other things. Well, whatever your breakfast of choice is, and mix it together. It kind of muddles the flavor. It makes everything you eat taste like coffee. Whatever you mix it in, that is the dominating flavor. It doesn't matter what it is, but at least it won't make it as powerful, and it won't be as rough to get that caffeine in you and get your day started. And there's plenty of other options. There's I had like instant tea packets that actually tasted good and had caffeine in them. There's like sport drink packets. So if coffee isn't your thing, believe me, I understand. So there's plenty of options to get your caffeine if that's what you need to get started. But yeah, this is my luxury food item. So my other staple of breakfast is oatmeal. Instant oatmeal is my every breakfast. It is always there. It's always there for me. There's a lot of calories in it, a lot of nutrients, and a lot of times it tastes good. And you have a variety of flavors that you can bring with me. A lot of brands that you can bring that will kind of mix it up a little bit and make your breakfast a little bit more tolerable. Even still, eating oatmeal every day for 6 months kind of wears on you a bit. But this is what I do. It's easy, and there's you can cook it. That's an option. You can overnight it and cold soak it. I mean, I've seen people eat it dry and just wash it down with what water they have. That's a lot, but hey, if you want to do it that way, be my guest. That I guess it'll save you some time. But yeah, oatmeal, instant oatmeal packets. If you didn't know, you can cook directly in the oatmeal packet. You can dump hot water or cold water, and you're good to go. So no dishes, no mess, and you're ready to hike. So that's why I love oatmeal. It's just so versatile, so useful, and it's really the perfect hiker breakfast for me. Another really common hiker breakfast is Pop-Tarts. Pop-Tarts are other like pastries like this, little, something simple like this, or anything, related to this. It's another like feel-good item, but it also carries a lot of calories. Let me see real quick. There's 370 calories in 96 grams. So I don't know the math on that, but that definitely checks out, because I mean, it's very close. And if it's not, well, they're delicious. So this can be your feel good item. But I'm pretty sure that definitely comes out to a little over 100 grams per, or 100 calories per your 28 grams. So Pop-Tarts are great. Again, you have a ton of flavors, ton of variety where you can mix it up. You're still eating the same thing, but at least it's something different just to change it up a little bit. They pack well. Usually they just kind of turn into like a mush. You're never going to get like a real full Pop-Tart on day 3 on trail. But it is really good as a breakfast or a snack or whenever you want to eat it. Pop-Tarts are great. So my kind of substitute for Pop-Tarts as like, feel good and taste good and also comes loaded with calories. So I get these little bites. They're little like mini muffins, but you can get anything like that. Little Debbie snacks. I'll pack out like Twinkies a lot, Swiss rolls. Anything that like falls into that category. Like packed out mini donuts. They don't pack that well, but I mean they're good. Honey buns. Honey buns are huge. Honey buns are like the best breakfast, and I can't believe I forgot to buy them. But honey buns are like a fantastic breakfast option. You can get them anywhere. You can go into a gas station and buy 6 of them, no problem. Like the jumbo iced honey buns, and that can be your only breakfast. You get like 500-600 calories. It'll be like 4 ounces. They are awesome. So I definitely recommend like some type of like cake item like this. If you don't want that much sugar, there's tons of other options that you can go to and go a little bit healthier. But yeah, if you're just looking like pack calories, these little cakes, honey buns, stuff like that, they're like absolutely perfect. as a thing to bring with you when you're hiking. So if you do want to go like a healthier route, a faster route, I really love the Carnation Breakfast Essentials. These, I wouldn't. I've seen people use them as like their only thing for breakfast. I wouldn't really recommend it because again, I don't think it's enough calories. But as an addition, this is definitely like something to add to your coffee. The strawberry I wouldn't recommend, but it honestly like changes it up a little bit. And like when when you're 3 months in, like any change, if you're eating the same thing any day, is pretty welcome. But you can add these as like a creamer for your coffee if you get the vanilla or the chocolate, and then you make like a hiker mocha. You got tons of options. I'll add these to my oatmeal. A lot of times I would just dump 2 packets. I dump them in my Nalgene, and then that would be like kind of my stuff to sip on like through the day. Or I just go like 2 of these in an Nalgene plus a couple coffees, and then I wouldn't have to like just slam my coffee right away in the morning. I could have something, I could enjoy it. I'd span out that caffeine a little bit, and have a longer bit of energy instead of just getting a bunch of caffeine all at once. So breakfast essentials, if you find them, you can't really get them in gas stations, but if you're at a store, and you can buy them at pretty much every grocery store. And if it's a hiker area, they will be hard to find because these are becoming more and more popular, I feel, like every year. Even like as you go up the trail, more people find out about them, and it's like the first store you go into, it's like tons of breakfast essentials, and you can just scoop them off the shelf and find them no problem. Then you get to the end, and you'll be like, okay, like I found the breakfast essentials, and then you'll like look for the powder packets, and they're all gone because hikers just came through, ransacked them because they're so quick, so simple. You get a ton. I just want to show, like I talked about vitamins and minerals. From this point down on the nutrient facts, that is all vitamins and minerals that you're getting from these. That's why these are so good, because a lot of the stuff that you're missing in your diet, you'll get from these, or at least some of it, to supplement a little bit. Very calorie efficient. These are 36 grams and 130 calories. I think it might be slightly less if I'm just kind of doing the quick math in my head, but very worth it. Again, the feel-good aspect of it, the vitamins and minerals aspect of it, like these are great. These are the perfect hiker food. So anyway, that's it for breakfast. This is my small selection that I carry with me, but yeah, it works for me. It's worked for quite a few miles, and yeah, so we'll go ahead and say we're finished with breakfast and then move on to lunch and snacks. All right, so this is my selection of lunch and snacks that I usually bring with me. Still not very big, but it works for me. It was a little bit bigger than breakfast because 2 meals a day, so I need a little bit of variety. And this isn't everything, Like I said, I do miss some things, and you can eat whatever you want, whenever you want on trail. There's no rules. It's not like this has to be lunch and snacks. I could eat this stuff for breakfast. I could make oatmeal for my snack. This was just a convenient way to organize it. But anyway, the first thing I want to talk about is some of the hiker like staples. Probably the first thing when you're looking into what food. I know, like when I was first looking into like what food do you bring when you're hiking, these were like the first things, and that was beef jerky. It's empty. I got hungry. These tuna packets, and you can get tuna, chicken, Spam, all these different ones, and tortillas. So these are like, you will see everyone with these. Maybe not beef jerky, probably not as common, but definitely like chicken packets, tuna packets, and tortillas. Like you're gonna see these everywhere. Now, one person you definitely will never see with them is me. I hate these so much. So one, I don't like tuna at all. But there's 140 calories in this one packet of tuna, which seems great, but it weighs 2.6 ounces. So you're missing out on 120 calories. It's barely over half of like my threshold of like what I want to bring. And the chicken's even worse. Spam is like close, So if you like Spam, it's definitely, that's like kind of the one I would recommend. Um, but like, stop bringing these when you hike. I guess if you like packs of tuna and plain tortillas, go ahead and bring them. But and like tortillas are no better. So we're looking at 210 calories, so a little bit better. I guess they're no better. Um, but one serving is 71 grams. So quick math in my head, that's a little bit less than 3 ounces per tortilla, and you're only getting 210 calories. So it still falls short of that 100 calories per gram mark. Beef jerky is the same thing, 70 calories per 1 ounce serving. So they're all falling short of that calorie value. So you're bringing them, and they're not giving you that proper, or what I consider the proper weight to energy ratio. So you're losing out on them, on all those. So in my opinion, all of this stuff, don't bring it. That's just my opinion. But I see so many people where all they eat is like tuna and tortillas, and then they're like, why am I so tired all the time? I wonder. Look at your calories. So you might ask, like, I just threw all those out. One thing that's really good about those is that they're very high in protein. Which, another thing, I don't think you need a lot of protein when you're hiking. In fact, you should get, maybe 20% of your diet should be protein. That's not a focus at all. Like, if anything, carbs and fats are way more of a focus. Protein, like, it's not important. You're not breaking down muscle. You're not going to be building muscle. You're cardiovascular. You're doing a different activity. You're more like a marathon runner, but even then, like, you're not even working your muscles as hard as a marathon runner. You're working them for a long time. You're working your lungs longer. So protein is not important, but if you are concerned about your protein and you're like, you just threw away all my protein sources and told me not to bring them, what should I bring? Well, one thing that I love to bring is these like Jack Link's jerky sticks or Slim Jims. So these are kind of better than like beef jerky and tuna and stuff, because maybe tuna not so much, but it's just because they have to keep it moist to keep it like appetizing. But like with beef jerky especially, it is only made from like muscle. It's dried, muscle from a cow or whatever you're getting the jerky from. Or these are kind of made out of like the leftovers a little bit. And you think like, oh, well, that's gross. But the good thing about the leftovers is that it's like fat is always a leftover. So where, beef jerky is 70 calories per ounce and tuna is far worse at like 55 calories per ounce. This one stick is 23 grams. That's one serving. So a little bit less than an ounce. You're getting 110 calories. There is 9 grams of fat in one of these sticks. These are so much more calorie value while still getting, 5 grams of protein in one stick. And you can bring like 4 of these, eat one a day. Like that's fine. But way more calories. You're not as worried about protein, so as long as you're getting some, you're fine. So that's why if you're looking for a protein source and you're not, vegetarian or vegan, this isn't tailored to them. But much better protein source, way higher calorie value. That's like probably my strongest opinion when it comes to food, is like I see people and they just tortillas and tuna, tortillas and tuna, tortillas and tuna, and they eat it like every day for lunch, and they'll eat like one of them, so they're getting like 200 calories. Especially if they're using like smaller tortillas, they're getting like 200-300 calories, and then they're like, oh, I'm gonna go hike like 8 more miles till my next meal, and then they get to the end of it and they're like, oh, I'm so hungry and I feel so tired. No way. Who would have guessed? Get your calories up, get your miles up, hike more, and get real calorie food with a lot of fat in it. You never want You never want to go no fat or low fat when you're on trail. Go with full fat and get as much as you can, because your calories are your energy. Anyway, let's keep going with stuff that I bring with me. Another thing that I bring is granola bars. So any type of bars, really. So you got like Cliff bars. These are great. These are honestly probably one of the best hiking foods. It's just that I can't stand the taste of them, so I don't bring them. There's like 2 flavors that are any good, and I kind of don't want to ruin them, because like if I ever end up in a pinch and I'm like, this is the only thing I have to eat, well, I don't want to be sitting there like, oh, I'm stuck with Cliff bars. I just don't like the taste of them. That's the only thing. I mean, other than that, they're like the perfect hiker food. That's what they were made for, is like going outdoors, like climbers, stuff like that. So there's a reason that they're great. It's just I don't really like the flavor. So I don't bring them, but definitely, if you like Cliff bars, bring them with you. Or if you've never had them, try them at least. Then you'll find out. As a substitute to Cliff bars, though, is I like to bring like these chewy granola bars. You can get a huge pack of them. Carry like, I'll have like 20 of them that I'll carry with me, and they're sweeter. They taste better. They probably have more like of all the chemicals that like everyone says you shouldn't eat, and that's what makes them taste delicious. I don't care. They still have good They still have good calorie value. These here. So these are actually a little less because they are like the cheaper version, but they're still, between the flavors, is 90 calories. Actually, no, they're about right. They're 90 calories for 24 grams for some of the flavors and 100 calories for 24 grams for the other flavors. So they're sitting like right on the line. But in my opinion, that's close enough, especially because they taste good. So it's like, it's a mood booster, where if I eat a Cliff bar and I get, these are 260 calories for 68 grams. So that's, like 120-ish. Trying to do math in my head that's complicated. 120-ish calories, per gram or per ounce that I'm bringing, and I'm getting more energy, but my mood's gonna be brought down just from having to eat them. So that's why I prefer maybe a little bit less calories that I'm getting for a little bit more flavor, and that's totally fine. Like if you're if you, like I said, if you want to bring tuna with you, or you really like beef jerky, or tortillas are just such a a handy thing to throw all your food into, and you want to bring them, great, do it. Do whatever you want when you're on trail. But this is just my opinion. That's that's why I like the chewy, more like children oriented, I guess, granola bars versus like the adult hiker Cliff bars. So more things to bring, set these to the side, is peanut butter. So this may not look like peanut butter. So these packets are called Split, and I think these are great because peanut butter is like, again, another one of those things that like everyone's gonna have on them all the time, and I think you should. Peanut butter is great. You like plain peanut butter is like around like 160 to 180, I think. Calories per ounce, and that's fantastic. That is exactly what you need when you're hiking. But when you're eating super dry peanut butter every single day, every single meal, having a scoop, it starts to get old. So to prevent that, I like to bring these Split Nutrition, where it's little packets, so you already have everything measured, and you can tell like I'll bring 6 of these for 3 days of hiking. And I'll have 2 a day. So that's why I like to bring these. And then also they're always with something. So these are with dark chocolate, but they have some where they're with like strawberry jam, grape jam, all these different like fruit jams that give you like a little bit of sweetness, and a good way to like make the peanut butter a little bit more palatable. If you're just tired of peanut butter, and you've just been eating it, like you've eaten peanut butter and jellies your whole life, and then now it's like, oh, this guy's telling me to eat peanut butter every day on trail. This is a good way to like mix it up a little bit and make things a little bit better for you when you're out just trying to get the food down. It makes life just a little bit more tolerable in getting those calories. So any type of peanut butter, but specifically like these Split Nutrition, I really think these are great. So moving on, another like bar that I like to bring. Sorry, this is the back. Another bar that I like to bring is these Nature's Bakery fig bars. So these are great. Looking at 57 grams and 210 calories. So right on the line, but I think they taste great. Again, this is just like something that I bring as a snack. Makes me feel a little bit better. They taste good. It's basically like kind of like fancy Fig Newtons is what they are. Like a little bit more like natural. But in this case, like the natural has more calories. So that is why I like to bring, something like this, just another variety of bar to make things a little bit better. Another really great snack that I bring these all the time is any type of peanut or tree nut. If you have the allergies, unfortunately, you can't bring these, but these are great for hiking. Again, just like peanut butter, any type of, these are almonds, I believe. Yeah, these are almonds, and almonds have a ton of calories. These are 43 grams, and there's 260 calories. So not even 2 ounces, and there's over 200 calories. Like that is a substantial amount of energy for your weight investment in your pack, and these will keep you going. I bring these. These are like trail mix is amazing. It's another thing. Like trail mix has like a little, you have raisins and chocolate and stuff to mix up the flavor a little bit. But if you want to just go pure caloric value, definitely just walnuts, almonds. I throw walnuts in, like plain walnuts in with my oatmeal every morning, and get me a lot more energy, a lot of calories, and a little bit of texture too to like change it up. But yeah, these Blue Diamond on the go like little almond packets are great because you have a ton of different flavors that again adds a little bit of variety for each time you're packing out to go hike. More stuff. These Milano cookies, and these are just like, I just grabbed some cookies that I've seen people bring. But if you want to, like, cookies are great because again, any baked good that would normally be like, this is unhealthy, is great for hiking because you have a ton of calories. Any type of candy also. So going to like my go-to is the M&Ms, peanut M&Ms. But you can bring any candy you want, any chocolate, ton of calorie. Again, it's like if people say it's like unhealthy and you shouldn't eat a lot of it, bring it when you're hiking because it's going to work great for you because tons of calories in it, and it'll be able to. Again, this is another thing that's like a mood booster for me. I love peanut M&Ms. I think they're the best candy by far. So this is like one of those things I can eat, makes me feel better, gives me more energy, and I'm good to keep hiking down the trail. So a little bit more like substantial foods that you can bring. I really like bringing any type of potato chip with me. This is kind of the flavor that I picked, but any potato chip is great. These are, it doesn't tell me how much it weighs. Give me 1 second. Okay, so there's 9 ounces of tortilla chips in here. There's about 9 servings in a container, and the number of calories 150. So again, another great number, 150 calories in 1 ounce. That's very, very good. And it's another thing that you have a ton of different flavors, ton of different varieties. You don't just have to bring Doritos, Ruffles, Sun Chips, like the kettle chips. You can find homemade potato chips if like someone was selling them somewhere, and like all these different things that you can bring with you. They're gonna be really good. They're fried in oil. They have different flavors on them, so it's just another thing to like get you calories, keep you moving, and have a little variety to change it up a little bit. So on that note, another thing that has a lot of variety and I feel like most people enjoy is cheese. I love bringing cheese on trail. Again, we're looking at 100 calories per ounce. That's what it's sitting at here. And you can pack out pound blocks, or like they have the little Baby Bell cheeses or string cheeses. There's a lot of different options for you with cheese that you can bring that's going to change it up, going to taste good, and continue and keep getting you down the trail. I feel like I'm hammering home a lot of the same points on these foods, and like it's really how it is. All you're looking for in your food. Does it make you happy? Does it get you farther down the trail and give you energy? So yeah, cheese is great. You can add it to anything. You can make little sandwiches. I would like add it to my ramen and let it melt, or you can just eat it plain. Tons of options with cheese that you can eat it all the time. I eat it for like every meal but breakfast usually if I do bring it with me. One thing I will say is that in like the warmer months, if you're hiking through the summer, your cheese, it's kind of weird. It doesn't go bad necessarily, but it will seem like it is. It'll get a little like funk to it. I won't say like a funk because it doesn't really smell weird, but it'll start sweating. If you're like an experienced hiker and you've brought cheese with you out on the trail for like a 6-day hike, you understand what I'm talking about. But it gets like a slime to it. Don't really I don't want to say don't worry about that because I don't know, but I've seen every hiker like ever just deals with the cheese sweat, and everybody makes the joke. It's like, oh, your cheese is sweating. That's how you know it's starting to get good. So cheese is one of those things where if it's colder, it's like not going to go bad. It's going to be awesome the whole time. If it's warmer though, you might be a little weirded out by it, but don't worry. Like you're still getting the nutrients that you need. You're still getting those calories. It still tastes like cheese, and I haven't gotten sick from it yet. I don't have any wood around me to knock on, but it hasn't happened yet, and I haven't seen any hiker get like violent diarrhea from eating sweaty cheese. But definitely, if it does start to smell bad, you exercise some common sense and don't don't eat the cheese. So the last thing that I bring, and this is kind of my substitute for tortillas. So instead of packing out tortillas and having to worry about that and like not even being that good and not giving a good caloric value, I love bringing out King's Hawaiian sweet rolls. These things are fantastic. They taste good. I'm still getting 90 calories per ounce, so we're close. But like as good as they are, it is the perfect food for me to make sandwiches or just pile stuff on. I seriously would eat these like constantly. Every pack out I could find them. If we went to a real grocery store, I'm getting the King's Hawaiian sweet rolls, and I'm gonna enjoy my sandwiches that I'm making. You can pack out on the like bread topic. You can really pack out any type of bread. I would honestly recommend like regular sliced bread over tortillas. A lot of people are like, oh, well, it doesn't pack that well. Put it on the top of your pack, and it packs all right. It'll squish a little bit. I mean, get over it. Like, you're sleeping like basically in the dirt. You're getting rained on. I think some squished bread is like the least of your worries. But you can pack out bagels. Bagels have a decent like caloric value for the weight that you're getting because they're a lot more dense. Yeah, that's definitely like bread is something to bring. If you're like, oh well, the only bread I could bring is tortillas, and I like them. There are so many other options that you can bring. Just if you're unsure, just look at look at your calorie value to weight. You might have to do a little bit of math. I'm sure you have your phone on you. There's a calculator on it. And figure out like, is this really worth it? And with a lot of like your regular breads, I find it to be more worth it than tortillas. Again, just my opinion. If you really like tortillas, then bring them. But yeah, this is my go-to. If you're like, I don't know, if you don't want to do the math or you don't really want to think about it and figure it out, like King's Hawaiian sweet rolls. These things are the bomb. And I love bringing them when I'm hiking. So that is everything that I bring for lunch and a snack. I feel like that was a very long stretch that I just talked. But that's what I bring for lunch and snacks. And we're going to go ahead and get these off the table, bring the dinners up here, and we're going to talk about what I eat for dinner every day. All right, y'all, let's talk about all the dinners that I bring with me. So the first thing that I want to start with is the hiker staple dinners, and that is ramen and mashed potatoes. These are something, I mean, I had a friend who hiked the entire AT and all he ate for dinner was ramen and mashed potatoes. This is what he ate every single night. I don't know how, because I get tired of them pretty quick. But they are good. I usually bring like one or two of those excuse me, one or two to kind of like at the end of my, of like a stretch on a resupply. If I can't find like other dinners, just because they're lightweight, they're cheap. It's a good way to save a lot of money because they are so cheap. I mean, a pack of ramen's like 35 cents or something, unless you're buying them like at a place that just targets hikers and tries to take all their money from them, and then they charge you like $2, which is still cheaper than everything else there. So ramen's really good as like kind of like your last couple dinners, just to like fill in the gaps. And the calorie value, 190 calories for 43 grams, so fantastic there. And then mashed potatoes, 120 calories per ounce, so again, really good calorie value, really efficient for what you're going to be carrying. And they don't taste terrible. They just get old is the thing, because you are going to eat them so much. But there are a lot of different flavors and stuff, especially like in ramen. You can get like fancier ramen that tastes a little bit better and like spicy and stuff. And then with your instant mashed potatoes, you have a ton of different flavors. So it works out really, really well with like being able to mix it up. But if it comes to it, and you're like every pack of ramen tastes the same and all the potatoes taste the same, which I don't entirely disagree with that. One thing that I like to use to kind of mix it up is stovetop. Stovetop is kind of like in the same like zone of in my mind as like instant mashed potatoes. You can cook them the same way. It's something. It's something you can add, and they do taste really good. And it's like I said, it's a really good change to the normal mashed potatoes and ramen. One thing that I really like to do, which I had a friend show me one time, she would make Thanksgiving dinner, and it was just stovetop and instant mashed potatoes, and you can cook them together, you mix them, and it's really, really good, actually, as far as hiker food goes. Another hiker staple that I really enjoy is Knorr sides. So you can either get like the rice sides or the pasta sides. One thing that's different between Knorr sides and these other three that I've talked about is that you can't really cold soak Knorr sides. You can, but I just wouldn't recommend it. The pasta sides, definitely not. It's pretty bad when you cold soak them. When you cook them, they're delicious. When you cold soak them, bad. The rice, I don't know. I had mine cold soaking for quite a while one time, like an hour probably, and they still, like, all the rice was crunchy, and this wasn't good. So for that reason, I just don't recommend cold soaking any North side. I definitely won't ever again unless it's like my only option. But if I can, I cook the North sides because they taste really good. It's a really good food to have. They taste good. You have a bunch of different flavors and stuff, so you get some variety, and it's a nice change up to have whenever you're looking for a dinner to have on trail. Another thing that I really like to bring is mac and cheese. So another thing, really good calorie to weight ratio. The only thing is, I would bring this out if you kind of watch some of my older videos, and I would bring this out and I would eat this first night that I was on trail, because this box is 7.25 ounces, so almost half a pound. And while you do get a really good value out of it with your calories to weight, it's just a lot of weight to carry. And I'm not just gonna eat like half a box. I don't do that. I'm eating the whole box. That is guaranteed. So I would always pack this out and eat it on the first night. And it was just it's another feel good thing on top of getting all the calories with it. That would just kind of that first night where I'm back on trail. I'm like missing town, missing a bed and having good food, and then I just have some warm mac and cheese, and it ends up tasting pretty good. One thing that I will mention about mac and cheese is that, like this one, it says boil 6 cups of water. And then you add, at the end, you add 4 tablespoons of butter and a half cup of milk. You know, you don't need to do all of that. That's not like necessary for cooking. It's just going to make it, you know, it's going to give you a better product. But I would make this, I have a half-liter jet boil. I would fill it up with half a liter of water. I'd dump the noodles in and, you know, a box this size. I'd, you know, all right, have the water boiling. I'd dump these in. I'd let it boil basically until like all the water had absorbed into the noodles. Then it's like, you know, you just slowly get like bubbles coming through. And then from there, I would just dump, you know, my cheese packet in, and you get like a pretty nice, like actually like creamy mac and cheese that tastes pretty good. And it comes out really well, like surprisingly well for, you know, how like kind of different you have to cook it, like in a jet boil or, you know, whatever stove that you're using. But it comes out really good, and that's why like I love packing out mac and cheese. It's like, it's probably one of my favorite things to pack out, especially as a dinner. Just, you know, it's a little heavy because most people don't expect like this to be like a meal for one in one night, you know. So yeah, mac and cheese, like if you never packed it out, definitely recommend packing it out. It's fantastic to bring. Another thing, and this was actually something that was just recently introduced to me by my family. You know, they would have their meals that they would cook every night, and they would you know, make this. They would just have like spaghetti noodle, like pasta, and they would cook it, and then they'd dump something in it. And I was every once in a while they would like run out, so they'd give me the leftovers and stuff. And I was like, this is so good. You know, what is it? Like, what are you making? And all it was like, you take the spaghetti, take a box of spaghetti, 1 pound of spaghetti, you break it in half, all the noodles, you just break them in half, throw them in a plastic bag, Ziploc bag, and then, you know, same thing, bring your water to a boil, cook all your noodles, and then you dump a Knorr sauce mix into it, and you get like an actual good, like decently good tasting like pasta dish. You know, it's I wouldn't go restaurant quality, but when it's on trail, I mean, this is like a Michelin 3-star hiker meal. You know, this is gourmet. When you're, you know, 3 days out in the middle of the woods, it's fantastic to have. You know, tastes really good. Again, a lot of, you know, you're getting a lot of calories from it, and you know, it just comes out that as another thing to change up, because there are tons of like these pasta mixes. You know, I have Alfredo right now, but like you can get pesto, you can get all these different. I think you can get like Italian. There was like shrimp gumbo, I think, and all these are shrimp scampi, and all these different like pasta flavorings that, you know, come out really really good for, again, very little effort. That's kind of my main thing with all these dinners that I bring. Excuse me, all these dinners that I bring is that they taste good, but the ease of making them is just so easy, and that's what I want like in my dinners. Is at the end of the day, I just want to be able to get into camp, and I don't want to spend like a lot of time like getting stuff together and trying to cook. I just want to throw stuff together, maybe simmer some noodles, or you know, kind of stir whatever I'm cooking for a little bit. But that's like all I want to do, and then done. Like, I don't have to worry about anything else. I can just eat, get in my tent, or, you know, lay down and go to sleep. So that is like kind of the main thing that I look for in a dinner. Like the second thing, you know, obviously you want to get calories, and then the second thing is like, how easy is it? Now, because that's like the second thing, and then the third thing is really taste. You know, it kind of gets old, so there are a lot of things that you can do to like spice up your dinners that you're bringing. One thing that I've seen people do is actually bring spices out. So they'll bring, you know, they come make these little like small like shaker bottles of different spices. So you can put, you know, I've seen like garlic powder, onion powder, paprika. Like there's some people who have like a whole spice rack in their pack, and then they end up with the trail name Spice Rack. So there are options that you have in like making these meals a little bit better. You can also add other stuff, so like cheese. I talked a little bit about any like protein that I bring. So like those little meat sticks, sometimes I'll just cut them up, either with a knife or like you can use a spoon or just break them apart with your hands. It's very easy to do that. You can take that and throw that into your dinner and add a little bit of a new texture, a little bit of a different flavor, a little bit more protein and calories and stuff to make that meal a little bit better. So there's a lot of things that you can do for dinner. You just have to be creative. One thing that I really like is packing out like these French fried onions. They have these and like French fried jalapenos, and they're like actually just phenomenal. It's such a great like thing to add to like ramen, especially like if you're getting tired of ramen and mashed potatoes, and it's just like the same mushy consistency all the time. You can pack these out, and it gives you like a little bit of crunch. Just to like change it up, and I'll do these. I'll throw like potato chips in. Potato chips are great just to like throw in and give you a change of texture, some new flavors, and just make everything a little bit more palatable to give you those feel goods. So that's really like everything for dinner. Dinner for me is a pretty simple meal. Like I said, like most of the time I just want to get into camp. I want to cook. I want to eat, and then I want to lay down. I don't want anything else going on. I'm exhausted usually at the end of a day. So my main goal is just get food in and then lay down. Another thing that I want to talk about, and then if you noticed, you may have seen these on the table during my snacks and lunches portion, but electrolytes. So on top of all this food, which a lot of it is really high in sodium. That's kind of the fact of like hiker food is it's all very salty, but you need like it's almost critical to like your success in your hike to get extra. Sorry, I'm losing the word to get extra electrolytes. Because like sodium can only do so much. You do need some other stuff, and even then, like the foods that you're eating, you still may not get enough because like when it's the middle of summer, you're sweating so much. When I was on the AT walking through Pennsylvania, the only time I was ever dry on trail was leaving town, and that's not because it was raining. It's just I would sweat so much that my clothes would be soaked constantly. And it was so humid that my clothes wouldn't dry overnight. I'd put on the wet clothes and then I'd hike again and I would be soaked. So I was sweating a ton. It's because of the heat, because of the humidity. So electrolytes are vital in those situations to, keeping your body functioning properly. And probably my most recommended, or what I think is the best electrolyte mix to have is Liquid IV. This, I don't know what their like combination is. I've seen like some other ones that are like, oh, like the same as Liquid IV or compares to it, and they don't compare at all. Liquid IV is by far the best. Again, not sponsored. I wish I was because like these are so good. One, they taste amazing. I've had electrolyte mixes where it's like maybe it did work, but it tastes horrible, so I don't want to drink this. But Liquid IV like tastes amazing. All their flavors are good. They have a ton of different flavors. Again, I always talk about like changing it up or like having the different flavors. Liquid IV is great for that because they have all kinds of different flavors. And they're always like coming out with new ones. I think even like since I found out about Liquid IV and started drinking them, I've seen it. Like it seems like I was like, oh, they have like 3 flavors, and then it was like, no, they have 5, and no, they have like 10, and then I just see like new flavors pop up constantly. So I guess they're making new flavors, either that or I'm just now noticing them. But all of them taste really good, and just the hydration that it gives you is. It really nothing really compares, and the reason that I swear by them is I get really bad hangovers when I drink, and Liquid IV will cure me like almost immediately. Like nothing else will do it. I've tried drinking water, Gatorade, ibuprofen, like nothing makes it go away, but Liquid IV will. So that should tell you a little bit. That's kind of why I believe in their effectiveness, is because of that, where nothing else will work, and Liquid IV is like my savior in that situation. So I love Liquid IV. Just it's the perfect thing. I think they're the best for electrolytes. But if you have another thing that you want to drink, or you think it tastes better, or it's cheaper, because Liquid IV is pretty expensive. So that is one of the downsides of it. So if you want to go cheaper, there are a lot of options. Different Gatorade mixes and stuff, and generic ones, and salt tablets, and all these different things that you can use to get electrolytes. But if you have the ability, I definitely would say Liquid IV is the way to go. But anyway, I think that is finally it for all the food. That is the wrap up. So go ahead and get this off the table, and then we'll finish up the video. All right, y'all. So that is all the food that I carry, or tend to carry, during a through hike. And hopefully, even if you looked at all the food that I brought and you're like, none of that looks good, I don't want to, I definitely don't want to eat that. I hope at least some of the guidelines that I gave on how I pick, the 100 calories per ounce, and trying to eat as much as you can. I hope you at least got some information from that, and maybe change your perspective on how you're going to resupply from now on, where maybe you were the person who was tuna and tortillas because you're oh, that's what all the hikers do. Then maybe you can change you change that up, and maybe it'll improve your hike. So if you did learn anything, or get some advice, or kind of enjoy, or even just enjoy the video, please do leave a like. As always, the normal YouTube thing, it does really support the channel. And I do appreciate it. I love just seeing likes come in on my videos, even if it's just one, or if it's 15, 20. I always enjoy seeing it. If you have any questions about anything, or you have any just want to say kind of your ideas on what foods that you bring when you're hiking, do please leave a comment, and just let me know anything, or leave any questions. And if you enjoyed this video, and maybe you've seen some of my other videos, please subscribe, and you get to see all my future videos, and I'll always show up, and you'll be able to watch those as well. So anyway, finally wrapping this up. This has been quite the long video, but thank you so much for watching. If you made it all the way to the end, I do appreciate it. And I hope everyone has an amazing day as always. So until next time.